and welcome. My name is Larissa and I'm a nerdy freelance artist, and my favorite commissions are always the ones being purchased as gifts. So Christmas time is always a lot of fun for me because A, I love Christmas, obviously, but B, I always end up doing a couple of really cool gifts for people. Unique and handmade items are always the best choice for a gift, and for that person who has everything, custom artwork can be a really great gift. In this case, my clients are looking for a Christmas gift that will combine the recipient's fondness for snowmen and guinea pigs. And really, where are you going to find that out in some store? Anywhere. So of course, something custom was the way to go here. In a case like this, there are several conversations to have with your client. There's a lot of questions to go through, from do you want traditional media or digital? Are the guinea pig characters going to be wearing clothes, or are they just guinea pigs sitting in that place? Are there going to be other animals, or is it weird to have, say, a camel next to a guinea pig in a crown? Oftentimes the client feels really weird having these conversations with me, but I can assure you I've had way weirder conversations about pieces before. So once we worked through all the design decisions, I went ahead and did a few sketches to get the style of character figured out, and then the basic composition, and once the client has approved both of those, I can now start the actual illustration. For this piece, I'm using just classic Bristol drawing paper. It's got a good weight, it can handle a lot of different mediums, and I went ahead and drawn in the dimensions that the client has specifically requested. And this is the pencil sketch that I have sent her for approval. It's got all the different little characters and aspects that she has requested, and it's not quite the correct finished dimension, but it's pretty close. I didn't know the exact dimensions when I started, but it's a good jumping off point. There are also some notes for some vibrant pops of color because she wants this to be a lot of fun, very bright and cheerful. So now that I've basically designed all the different characters for this piece, I just need to transfer them to my correct dimensions. I started with Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus at the center because obviously they're the most important portion of this composition. And then I worked my way outwards through the composition by putting in the manger and then adding the little angel guinea pig on top. Next, I worked in the three wise men, which are snowman versions of guinea pigs in this particular illustration. Again, that's just a really fun, personalized detail for the recipient of this illustration, which is one of the main perks of being able to give a custom piece of artwork. To give a boundary to the space so everything's not just sort of floating in nothingness, I used a plate and traced out an arc that will sort of contain everything into a designated area without getting too loosey-goosey. I wanted it to feel very cartoony, kind of comic strippy, not so flowy and watercolory. I also felt like this style worked really nicely with the cutesy, very adorable cartoon guinea pig characters. And then of course I chose a very bright yellow for the straw of the manger's roof and that all the characters are sitting on. Again, just to be very bright and fun and cheerful and festive for the season. You'll see that I'm not doing a lot of shading in this piece. I'm keeping it very simple and fun and bright, but I do a little bit here and there to add some definition of different shapes. And to keep it that fun, bright feel, instead of white for the angel and the snowman, I did do a slight little lilac tint, just so they don't feel too plain and washed out compared to the rest of the composition. But I did want to make sure that each of the wise men looked like they had their own distinct personality, just like all the other different characters in this piece. I wanted each of the guinea pig characters to look like a very different individual character, because there's such a variety of different colorations and fur types when it comes to guinea pigs. I figured you might as well have fun and have a variety of them in this piece. I gave Joseph a very sort of spotted fur coat with various different tones and shades of brown. But I left Mary sort of a lighter cream color and made her one of the long-haired guinea pigs. I did keep the livestock fairly simple in their colors, but I did give them a little bit of texture. And as usual, and in general for me, I tend to avoid using straight black and opt more usually for sort of a dark charcoal gray. So even though it looks fairly dark here on screen, a lot of the coal, for instance, on the snowmen and on the cow up front here, that is actually just a dark gray rather than a straight black, which I feel sort of flattens a lot of images and looks too harsh. And to keep things from looking too busy and hectic, when I used something that wasn't fairly neutral like the browns and the grays, like for instance the bright pink, I tried to use that in multiple places throughout the composition to tie everything together. Obviously that doesn't always work because there's only so many objects in this composition, but if something really was standing out to me, I definitely tried to work that in multiple places. Or I tried to balance them out, for instance, the camel's red blanket with the green headpiece of one of the wise men. I did decide that the straw was looking a little too flat and went in and used a little bit of a darker brown and even a little bit of a gold metallic to add some definition there. For the Christmas star, I did let a little bit of the white paper shine through, and I didn't do such a solid coloring as I did for most of the rest of the composition. And then I added in a few gold metallic accents, which I began to work throughout the rest of the composition. The gold is a really good way to help tie in the entire composition into one cohesive piece by having it up in the star, a little bit in the straw, the crowns of the wise men, and then carrying it all the way over to the blanket on the camel. Then I added some smaller stars to the night sky, both for visual interest and to make the Christmas star up here look a lot more important. And then next I was able to move on to the inking portion. For the majority of the ink, I just used a very fine point Sharpie pen. It's kind of my go-to. I'm obsessed with these pens. They're definitely my favorite. I didn't want to junk up the illustration with too much darkness of the ink, so I kept it to pretty simple outlines and only tiny bits of occasional detail added in with the pen. And then I switched to a regular Sharpie to outline the night sky to sort of frame everything in nicely. Again, just a little bit of detail added to the star, and then of course it's an original piece of artwork, I have to sign it. And then I just have to cut it down to the size specified by the client. I hope you found this helpful and inspiring. If you did, remember to like the video, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications every time I upload a new video. Happy holidays and have a beautiful day, and I will see you next time.